Hey everyone, in this video we're going to cover the prospecting strategies and techniques for digital marketing agencies and online businesses. And so what we'll cover in here is at a higher level, those prospecting channels that if you're a digital marketing agency where you may have to have most success with, as well as maybe touch on some of the techniques. I don't want to keep this video too long, but I definitely want to cover a decent amount of good content to provide you all with information that you would find helpful in running your business. And so without further ado, let's jump into this. So the main piece, right, before we begin any of our work of outreaching, either you're running paid advertising or doing cold outreach, whatever it may be, whatever it is, you definitely need to, this will save you so much time and effort, wasted energy, time, all of that stuff, because you really should know your target audience as well as their pain points. And so this is the research phase, I would say, or the research piece, but yet this is the most important part of any type of prospecting strategy or technique, is knowing and researching your audience, knowing where they hang out online, knowing where they hang out physically, just knowing where they congregate, knowing their interests, right? Knowing their likes and dislikes. Also, better understanding what their greatest fears are and what their greatest pains are. And so if you're dealing with local businesses, and say you're a digital marketing agency, you're working with HVAC companies, and so you would want to focus on what their main likes and dislikes are. And so when it comes to, there's a lot of pieces to this, because then you want to craft offers and have very targeted headlines and various things depending on the platforms that you utilize for your either your outreach or if you're running paid advertising. But you need to really drill down on what the fears, their likes and pain points are, and what it may be. So I'll use an example, right? So we used to, we still do, we work with HVAC businesses. We used to focus heavily more on HVAC businesses, but the main things that we used to find is a lot of HVAC companies had been burned by other previous marketing agencies in the past, in that they would buy in basically leads, right? So the main thing is that there's been so many marketing agencies that have beaten to death, get you 50 leads per month, 20 leads per month, all of that kind of language and that kind of I would say outbound prospecting or inbound prospecting messaging. And so when it relates to what we found is that the market was heavily oversaturated, or is fairly oversaturated marketing agencies. So therefore, from a business standpoint, you really have to find in your messaging as an agency and things like that, basically how to really separate yourself from everyone else. So if everybody else, let's say, use this example of HVAC businesses, and they're utilizing and are they're running offers that say 50 leads per month, you may want to drill down to say we want to offer booked appointments per month, because now you're able to get to a point where leads are leads, and a lot of times, unfortunately, depending on the platform that you utilize, the lead quality is not always the same. It's just the nature of the game, where it doesn't matter what form of marketing, you're never going to have a unicorn lead. It just doesn't exist. So really what you really want to focus on is better understanding the pain points of business owners who potentially have been burned in the past when working with agencies that have really produced lackluster results, right? And understand why. Were they dissatisfied with the leads they got? Were they dissatisfied in the service they received? Were they dissatisfied because they paid a lot of money and didn't get the results that they expected? A lot of that stuff comes down, and we can shoot subsequent videos and have other trainings about this. But basically, setting expectations right off the bat it's so critical and so important. So back to this, I don't want to get too far off track on this, but basically, know your target audience, know their pain points, find out what their greatest fears and challenges are. Also, how long have they been suffering for? So if this has been, again, using that example of an HVAC company, if they've been dealing with marketing agencies and have gone through 5 marketing agencies, and they've been basically suffering and been burned for the past year, you need to really understand that and understand why it is that they have a distaste for the marketing agencies. And really what you want to do is, I'm a very big proponent on this myself as a person and as an agency, and where I definitely, it's really difficult with results in marketing, but I don't, I would never, I always put my best foot forward to providing the best quality service possible and the best quality in what we do. And so in marketing, it can be, because it's very performance based, or it should be performance based and results driven. And so when you start to, if you really start to craft your offers that are more towards performance based, what you will find is, you will find generally that people or businesses, local businesses, are very receptive to that, and really, appreciate that form of marketing, because it really shows that there's like an equal stake in the game as far as you as an agency to deliver results to that business owner. But at the same time, it's a slippery slope on both ends, because I've seen situations where business owners have had expectations and have really it really comes down to the person at hand and who you're dealing with as a business owner. I would leave it at that, because we've had dealt with situations where we're less than ideal, and found that basically the expectations of the business owner were so high, and they fully didn't understand marketing and really understand what lead generation and various forms of marketing and what it really was. So so just without getting too far off track there, again, knowing your demographic is another key point. So if you're targeting business owners, HVAC businesses, a lot of the HVAC businesses that we notice is that the demographic for a lot of these companies that are beyond, I'd say, more than 2 to 3 employees, we find like the age demographic is between like 30 and 55, right? So that was a sweet spot for age demographic and companies like that. Not to say that you couldn't expand wider, but for our, when we went through our testing and our various research and things like that, and what the needs that, what we were looking for, that was our range as far as age demographic. Again, so depending on what your target, who your target audience is, what their pain points are, this is extremely important and critical. And so identifying, because once you take that first step, now you understand where your audience is, where they, what they like, what they dislike, what their pain points are, where they hang out, right? So that's the most critical piece. So it's the critical piece as far as leading into this point now for prospecting channels. And so if you're dealing with insurance brokers and you're looking to either provide any sort of marketing services, it might be, you might say like LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great place to go after that type of target audience, or email outreach could be another channel for that target audience, or ideal. But identifying your prospecting channels and understanding that what it truly means as far as prospecting on each channel. You don't have to have a deep understanding. I'd say over time you should develop a better or master the understanding of a specific marketing channel, because you can get very deep in understanding consumer behavior, or your audience, and when they're on the platform, when they're not on the platform, how much time they spend on the platform, and all of these kind of things, but all those kind of statistics. But basically, identifying your prospecting channel, is it going to be organic? So organic is the outbound, or is it going to be paid inbound? And also understanding the differences between both. So organic, your cold outreach is difficult, so that usually requires a lot of volume. So if you're doing email and you're doing cold outreach, or you're doing LinkedIn and you're doing cold outreach on LinkedIn, it's definitely going to require more effort, as far as you'll have to get more volume in, or you'll have to be very, very custom in your messaging, to custom and personalized, I would say, in your messaging to your target audience. So that takes a fair amount of time and effort, and so just understanding that up front is critical, and understanding also where they lie when you go when you seek or go after your targeted audience via organic and cold outreach. You have to understand where they are in the sales funnel, and so they're top of funnel. So basically, it's awareness, right? So you just there's to bring a consumer from the top of funnel to the point where they purchase, you're starting off at a high point in the funnel, and so there's a lot of other pieces that have to come into play. Typically, when you do like organic or cold outreach versus paid, folks sometimes already might have an awareness depending on the type of advertising that you're doing and what you're doing for your agency. You could be running ads, traffic ads, so people are already getting brand awareness. I wouldn't say brand awareness, but awareness about your brand or awareness about the services that you offer. So as far as looking at that funnel again, they would be at a different point in the funnel when you're running paid ads and it's inbound. So basically those are people already, their hands out looking for the service, like, hey, I need help with marketing, I need help with whatever services that you offer. So those folks technically are different as far as when it comes to a strategizing around how to really how to market towards them or how to prospect to that audience type. And so what I would say is, out of any of this, because I've learned through personal through my own failures and successes, is that mastering 1 to 2 channels is key. I'll say, it does not pay to just, do LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, email, all off the bat. It's going to take you a long time, if anything, and you may not get any results at all if you really stretch yourself thin like that. So basically, focus on 1 to 2 channels, master those channels, start to get some success and results from those specific channels. So basically learning from your failures on those channels, and then tweaking, and then that whole process of getting better at cold outreach or whatever it may be that you're doing, and really master those channels to move on to the next, before taking on the 3rd channel or 4th channel. And so you can always add more channels in the future. This is something that I've actually seen and helped other folks with, is that when they focus on 1 to 2 and then add more in the future, I've seen people have better success doing that. And so just to lay out some of the pieces, when you look at organic outreach, for organic/cold outreach, you have email, you have Instagram, you have Facebook, you have LinkedIn, TikTok, and like Snapchat, or what other platforms that you may have for basically cold outreach. And so let me break down what that means. So cold outreach, so if you obtain a list, oops, sorry about that. So if you obtain a list of, let's say, sorry about that. If you obtain a list of potential prospects and you're looking to email that list of potential prospects, that's a cold outreach, right? So you would want to make sure that if you're sending mass emails, you want to be just very direct as possible. So direct kind of marketing when it comes to that standpoint for messaging when you're doing mass volume. Either works if you're doing more personalized versus mass volume. Mass volume of emails that are sent out, the good thing about it is, like what you could expect from ratios as far as a digital marketing agency, is to get at least 1 to 2 responses per like 100 to 150 emails sent. And so that's like a good target to shoot for. And those responses could be anything. It doesn't have to be a positive response. It could be like wanting to learn more, or maybe not right now, maybe learn more in the future, or not at this time. Any kind of response, ideally you want positive response to someone to book the service. But just if you work within those parameters as far as your cold outreach statistics, then you will definitely be on your way to booking some calls and booking more appointments. So Instagram, similar, you would have to send messages per day. I was doing this, I had a virtual assistant that was assisting us in doing between 30 to 40 messages on Instagram per day. So basically Googling, HVAC, Toledo, Ohio, HVAC, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and when you do that, you look for their Instagram pages if they have Instagram accounts, and then basically you're looking to message each one of those people. So it can be very time consuming when you go down this route, but the best thing about this is when you do this, per se, if you have a lot of time on your hands, it's free, basically, minimal cost, very, very minimal cost, other than email platform, things like that, depending on how you go and purchase your list, if you're going to purchase emails and all of that. But basically the cost is very, very minimal, because the work effort is a lot greater when it comes to cold outreach. So you can actually find maybe a good balance between both by having virtual assistants assist you in doing the cold outreach. So Facebook, similar, you could send messages, friend people, and start sending messages to people on Facebook, business owners looking to see if they would be interested in you helping them out. LinkedIn, very similar. You can, once you make connection requests with folks, you can also send LinkedIn messages. There's tools as well I'm not going to sit here and recommend any tools per se, because I don't want to, I'm not trying to promote anybody or any kind of services. But basically, there's various tools that allow you to do, allow you to put in automation some of these things. I would say be very careful on what tools you decide to go with, because some of them, most of it goes against the terms of services on some of these platforms. LinkedIn tends to be very, very lenient with automation tools, and there's probably about a good 5 to 6 out there. If you just Google this, you'll see there's probably a good 5 to 6 that are very, very reputable. As far as tools on Instagram and Facebook, I would just be careful there, because again, it goes against their terms of service, and so you wouldn't want to get your account shut down or anything like that. So, and so cold outreach with TikTok. Now, I per se haven't done any cold outreach on TikTok, but I know it's similar to, as far as gaining a number of followers, and so you're posting content, gaining followers, and then messaging those folks. And so that covers everything related to that I can go over, basically related to organic outreach and cold outreach. And so now paid and inbound ads. And so people have found a lot of success on this, on the paid side of things, as far as the digital marketing agencies. But just like anything, any skill that you have, you really have to hone in on those skills and get better at it. So if you're running paid advertising, as far as if you're looking at like Facebook ads, Instagram ads, LinkedIn ads, TikTok, you really have to understand the platform and how to run ads, or you can just blow through a budget like you'll blow through $1,000, $2,000 very quickly. And basically while there, you need to conduct certain tests when doing any kind of prospecting or running any kind of ads on any of these platforms. You just really should get a really good understanding on the metrics that, what would really, when you do testing on Facebook versus Instagram versus LinkedIn. So I personally have not done a lot of testing on paid ads and LinkedIn, but I've done a lot of testing or run a lot of advertising on Facebook, Instagram, and we've done a little bit on TikTok. And so with Facebook and Instagram, you definitely want to, we do a thing called like sprint testing. So we'll test, we don't necessarily do A and B testing, although there's like, when you go further down in your testing strategies, you can like implement that or not incorporate that into your testing. But basically we do sprint testing, and it's just short tests with minimal budget to really isolate one specific thing that may be working or what's working best as far as headline, description, image. So the biggest thing on Facebook you're going to see, it's like everything is it's interruptive marketing, so everything is image, headline, color. So like with the image, you could have whatever image it may be, like someone sitting on a beach or something, right? But then you might have the headline, it could be bolded in a certain color, right? And so that could be something that is within the image of your of the ad that you're running. I would say definitely be careful, because Facebook is notorious for this, with always like not I don't want to say shutting down ad accounts, they do that too as well, but definitely suspending, and like there's just so much, they flag everything now. They're very highly super sensitive to what is what advertised on that platform, and just be careful that your messaging is not misleading in any way or anything like that, and just comply with the terms of service. But basically, setting up ad budgets or testing budgets initially before running on any kind of paid ads is very critical in any of these platforms. And so, let me see, I think that's the last here. Yeah. So that was the end. That was the last slide that I had here to cover everything. And so I hope that I've brought you enough value to understand basically the techniques in prospecting as far as outreach, cold outreach, and paid/inbound ads. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop a comment below in anywhere you see to ask a question, and I'll be glad to answer anything that you may have. Take care and have a great day, everybody.